Hi everyone, good afternoon. Today I'll present how to make a lesson plan. Lesson planning is necessary to structure your lessons and activities in the classroom. When writing a lesson plan, the first thing that you do is to think of the aims of or objectives of the lesson. When you're planning your lessons, the first steps is to ask these questions to establish the lesson's objectives. What am I teaching in this lesson? Why am I teaching it? What will the students be able to do by the end of these lessons? How will I measure the success of the lesson? The objectives must be specific, achievable, measurable, and relevant. To be specific, make sure the objectives are well defined, observable, and should answer who, what, when, where, and why. To make your objectives achievable, as a teacher, make sure that your students are academically ready and prepared for the objectives you set. Another important aspect in writing the objectives, it must be measurable. This means it can be evaluated. Your objectives must be relevant as well. This means that they should prepare students for the test, relate to a larger ideas, and build a schema or prior knowledge. A lesson plan should be student-centered. This means that the lesson should focus more of the students and not the teacher. Activities in your lesson should require students to do all the works. This way, you are making your students more independent. Here's an example objectives of the lesson about adjectives and verbs. These two objectives are specific, achievable, measurable, relevant, and student-centered. The next steps when making a lesson plan is to create an outline of your lesson plan. It follows a basic format that starts with an introduction, presentation, practice, and conclusion. The third step is to plan the activities in class. The activities must accomplish objectives and aims of the lesson. So be careful in matching your objectives and activities. The next step is to prepare materials and visual aids. The materials and visual aids must be authentic so that the students can relate. Other materials can be taken from the textbook, but others will depend on how resourceful the teacher is. The next slides will show how a lesson plan is done. Here's an example of the introductions of the lesson plan. The activities in the introduction serves as warm-up and motivational for students to start the lesson. This can be done by giving group activities. This next example is the presentation. If you look at the example, it highlights the actual discussions of the lesson. I put some questions for the students to answer so that students are able to take part in the discussion. In this way, the class becomes student-centered. This example shows after giving the lesson, students should practice the skills that they learn in class. These examples include the activities to be done in class. Students must be given activities that will help fulfill the aims and objectives of the class. Activities will help to reinforce learning. This example of the assessments. Towards the end of the class, teachers should always assess the students to know how much they learned. This will also guide the teacher what to do next and plan how to link the next lesson. The last part of the lesson plan is closing. This example shows how the lesson is ended. This last slide is a sample lesson plan using the Actifel lesson plan template. It starts with the teacher's name and other information, then followed by the themes or topic, activity sequence, ac- activating prior knowledge, eliciting performance, closure, then reflection. I'll give you a few minutes to read the sample lesson plan. Thank you for listening and happy Thanksgiving. If you have any question, please let me know.